Hey, future Broncos. On behalf of Project Caminos, welcome back to another episode of Bronco Scoop. My name is Daisy Lemos. I'm a fourth year architecture major here at Cal Poly Pomona and also a student assistant of Project Caminos. Thank you so much for joining us for this new episode of season 3. In today's episode, we will be getting to meet some of Cal Poly Pomona's orientation leaders who will be guiding prospective students, transfers and freshmen, everyone through their orientation this summer. It's very exciting. I hope that you guys have all signed up for your orientation. If you haven't, we have an episode with Matt, episode 9 of Bronco Scoop, where we introduce y'all to orientation. And there he mentions that everyone is very excited to welcome students to Cal Poly Pomona. And today you'll get to hear from the orientation leaders just how excited they are to be able to meet students in person. So make sure to go sign up for orientation. The link will be in the bio. And if you want to hear more about how all the insight into orientation, make sure to go check out episode 9. If you haven't submitted your intent to enroll, this is your friendly reminder to do so because you can't sign up for orientation without submitting your intent to enroll. Can you both please introduce yourself and your role at Cal Poly Pomona and your major and your year?
My name is Ioshua and Bruni. I'm a third year accounting major, business administration, and what I do here is I'm an orientation leader.
Hey, this is Bruni. I'm a senior in electromechanical systems and engineering technology, and I'm a returning orientation leader. This is my second year, and we welcome incoming and transfer students.
What is the role of orientation leaders during orientation?
So the role of orientation leaders during orientation, I would say, is just making the incoming or transfer students feel welcome at Cal Poly Pomona, make them feel at home, away from home, and just keep up the Bronco spirit.
And then with what's going on in the summer, which is way better than what we did like and now, is that we're planning to focus on advising first rather than doing group activities first, because the main purpose of, or from what my experience is, that people are more worried about like advising like classes, stuff like that, so they're not really engaged. They're just like, oh, where's my advisor? So we're doing that first, and then later in the afternoon of the orientation day, there's going to be orientation leaders like me, Bruni, and others that we're going to assist students on whatever they are interested in, tour guides, clubs that's going to be there as well, and just pretty much make everyone feel like welcomed.
So are the orientation leaders there during class registration or other activities?
Yes, absolutely. We will be navigating them through advising and registration process.
Pretty much, yeah. And then from our training that's going to happen in the spring, we talked about it, where we have some orientation leaders focus on certain majors or colleges. So when a student asks like, oh, can I need help with like oh, business, with the business college of business, they're like, oh, I know what it is. I know how to answer the question, instead of just like, oh, I don't know who, so I'm going to ask you to, or ask someone to help you.
So should students be prepared to walk, and is there a tour of the campus?
Yes, I would highly suggest good walking shoes because the campus is pretty huge and there would be a tour of campus. Or even if, like, once you register for a class and you want to find out where your classes are, which building it is in, I would highly suggest good walking shoes.
Yeah, definitely good walking shoes.
And sunscreen and water bottle since it's the summer.
Yeah, our school is located in Southern California, so it's always hot.
It's always hot.
Yeah. Having students representatives who can share their experience to incoming freshmen and transfers is important. What type of experience have you had at Cal Poly Pomona that you would like to share with prospective students?
So I'm an international student, and for me, orientation really played an important role, as it made me feel welcome here. That was my first encounter with Cal Poly Pomona. It was the first time I ever saw Cal Poly Pomona or anyone in the US, to be honest. And I wanted to make like the transition of especially international students much more smoother. So that is one experience I want to share with them, which is not just entering from high school to college, but just like entering a whole different country.
Where are you from, if I can ask?
India.
Ooh. Wow.
And then for me, a college experience that I have is that how welcoming the school was, especially being a first generation. I didn't realize like I was the only one. I wasn't the only one. I mean, because like I come from like a small community from where I'm from, and well, I was like I see everyone that I'm used to, and then when I got on campus, I was like, whoa, like there's so many people here. And then I think there was like a first generation like meeting or something like that. I don't know, but I just see like people that I could relate to, and it was like I haven't like felt that ever because I was like, oh, everyone's on their own different like path, and especially like after high school. So that definitely helped a lot.
So are you guys involved in other departments or organizations on campus?
Yes, I'm also involved with BASES, which is the Black Achievement Student Success and Engagement, and also with the Robotics Club or with the Tau Beta Phi. So I think with orientation leaders, different orientation leaders coming from different backgrounds and engaging in different school activities, I think it gives the incoming and transfer students a wide range of activities to like engage in or get an idea of how they're supposed to be.
Yeah, and I'm involved in a club called Latino Student Business. Pretty much is yeah, pretty much like this is the name. Latinos are in there primarily, which I'm surprised there was because I was looking for when I go into a classroom, like a person like myself, I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. I feel kind of excluded in a way. Like it's like that syndrome. I forgot that
Imposter syndrome.
imposter syndrome. There you go. I
Yes.
felt like my first year, I felt imposter syndrome like heavily, and I was like, I can't relate with anyone. And then so I reached out to a professor that I was asking like, oh, is there any clubs like for me? And like, yeah, I recommend these clubs. And I was like, okay. I went to one of their meetings and it was really fun. I really liked it. But then COVID hit, so that kind of like derailed everything. But for now, I'm still trying to participate and do all that stuff.
So what motivated you guys to apply to be orientation leaders? And what's the best part of your job? Is it the free merch or the free coffee or helping others?
I would say definitely the free merch and free coffee. And also like I met so many different people at orientation. This is the most fun job I ever had. And everyone is so welcoming, so sweet, and so friendly. It's not just like we are co-orientation leaders or like we're colleagues or something. We're all like one big community and like a group of friends. And it's always so fun to work with everyone. So that is the like all the perks and the benefits of being an orientation leader. But what motivated me to be an orientation leader was I wanted to share my experience with incoming and transfer students. I wanted to, because everything was very new to me. And I was very sure that it's kind of similar with others too, because I did talk to other international students and they had a similar experience. So that was one thing that motivated me. And when I was coming for orientation, I met one of the other orientation leaders who was my major as well, and they kind of like gave me an overview of how college life is going to be, or like what am I supposed to expect, or what clubs to join, or what professors are good or something like that, and that really helped. So just wanted to pass that on.
And then for me, what motivated me to join was I don't know, it was just that weird feeling in my stomach. But no, I was an orientation leader before in high school. I mean, for 2 years, and then I saw a poster on I believe near the library or campus library, and it said orientation leader position. And I was there telling my friend, I was like, oh, since we went to the same high school, I was like, this would be a good opportunity for me to like venture out, do my thing, and not be like reserved and all. So I gave it a try, and I remember doing the application. Like it took me a while because I'm still iffy about it. Like, should I do it? Should I not do it? But I did turn it in like last minute, and then I did the interview process, loved it, met the people, loved it. And then yeah, like the benefits are really good. I like the benefits, they're pretty good. You meet amazing people, you get free merch as well when you do like tabling and stuff like that. Food's free as well. And connections is definitely like a big one too. Like I never thought I'd have like this many connections with anyone, but going through like the process and everything, it definitely helped out.
Yeah. So what was your own orientation like?
So my orientation was a 2-day orientation. And first day went pretty smooth. There were activities. I met a couple of students and it was really good. One of my friends that I met in orientation, I'm still friends with today. I lived with her. She's my roommate since the freshman year after that because we bonded really well and it was really fun. And I remember for my second day, I was late because I couldn't figure out Uber. There was something going on with it. So I was late for like 2 hours. And I remember like informing my orientation leaders about it that, hey, I'm going to be late. And they were super sweet about it. They caught me up after that of what happened in those 2 hours too.
Hmm.
And then for me, it was nerve-wracking. One, because I had a beat up car. I remember it was a beat up car, and I live, I think, like 40 minutes to an hour away. And my parents were like advising me, don't we'll drive you and stuff like that. But it's again like a 2-day or an overnight thing. And I'm like, I don't want to waste gas. I don't want to do this for you guys. So then they were at work, and I remember me and my friend had the orientation day that morning, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna drive it. And it almost broke down, but we managed to do it. And then it went smoothly. I was never especially the panel. I think there was a panel. I was never at a panel before, like I never experienced it. And then it was pretty cool, like seeing like future mentors and like talking about their experiences with the college, and it was like really eye-opening.
Yeah, when I had my orientation, I like did summer bridge, so I knew people that were like in Cal Poly already, so I was with them. And we were talking to these two other people that were also I'm an architecture major, so they were also architect majors. And we happened to have studio with them like when school started. And now like 4 years later, it's like I'm still friends with both of them. And we always joke around because me and my friend were like talking to them. And we always joke around like we met you during orientation. And one of our friends doesn't remember it. He's like, no, like I remember meeting one of you, but not the other one. And I was like,
Right.
we were both there. Like all four of us were there in orientation. We were all stressing about registering for classes. I was like, I remember all this. But that's what I remember from my orientation.
To be honest, I don't remember my orientation much. Like I don't remember much of the people I met at orientation, just like the people I've really talked with, but others I don't remember much because I was really, really jet lagged. I had like come like a day before orientation. So I was really jet lagged and I was like so sleepy.
Oh.
So I don't remember much of it.
Is there anything that you wish you would have done or knew during your orientation?
One thing would be I think I should have kept more contact with the orientation because that would have helped at least the ones that were in my major or something like that.
Yeah.
The same thing, yeah, definitely. Definitely try to be more outgoing, because I remember being at my orientation, we had this one activity. I remember we're all in a circle, and then I was so shy. I don't know why, but I kept saying like one word answers, and it was like not progressing the conversation. It was just like, oh. And then end of the night, I was like, yeah, you ever had those thoughts where it's like, oh, I could have done this better? I was like, that's literally me at the end of the night. But like my roommate at the time was like gone because like they already made friends, and I'm like, I'm here stuck in the room. So I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing that I think could be more engaging or like interact with other peers, the orientation leaders, just like because you're starting a new journey and it's always good to like, have some peers in the same boat. So yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone coming into orientation is nervous, and you always feel like you're the only one that's nervous, but it's like everybody else that's there, they're equally as nervous or even more nervous than you are. So you got to remember that that's one thing that first year I had to remind myself, like everything is new to everybody else as well. So everybody's trying to make friends as well. Because that's one of the things that I learned at school at Cal Poly is that if you just start talking to people, like most people will be nice and like talk to you back.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what tips do you guys have for students before they arrive to Cal Poly Pomona for their orientation?
I think definitely be yourself and bring tons of sunscreen and water and just like bring the Bronco spirit. And I think the activities and the people you'll meet there and the orientation leaders will take care of the rest.
Check your emails. Check your emails because I messed up on my class schedule because I didn't read an email and I got the wrong class. So definitely check those emails.
Definitely. Also, like maybe have a look at what classes you want before
In
you
advance,
arrive for class registration, because otherwise you're going to be really confused and might not get the classes that you want. So I think just have an overview on the website or like what are classes you're supposed to take or something.
And should students bring anything like their transcripts, their AP scores? What advice do you guys have for that?
I don't think you need to, because I think you can take care of it later too at the registration office. But I think if you're having some trouble or if you see that your credits haven't transferred over, or if you're seeing something which is odd on your Bronco Direct, it's always good too.
I would definitely. I never thought about that, bringing your transcripts or AP scores, but definitely now thinking about it, I feel like it would be a good idea to like download them on your phone, the laptop, instead of like having like a folder, because you could lose stuff on your folder. But probably downloading it on your phone and then just I guess using it whenever you need to.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to the most during orientation this summer as orientation leaders?
I think just meeting new students, and because the last orientation was online, so just looking for more in-person orientation, because earlier we were just like looking at students on Zoom and trying to interact. I think it should be much more fun now that it's in person and there are much more activities and things involved.
Definitely listening to other people's stories, because I love listening to other people's stories about like where they're from, why they're here, stuff like that. Through Zoom it was difficult because we had there's one person that's on camera and stuff like that, and they're engaging, but you would like to have other people as well engage, and sometimes their cameras are off and stuff like that. But now that we're in person, they can't really have that like excuse of like, oh, my camera's not working. So that's gonna be fun. Also, I think we're gonna stay overnight since we're gonna stay at the suites, so that's gonna be fun. Living with the roommate again. So yeah.
What department or program social media account should students follow?
Definitely CPP orientation, and I think there's a CPP DSA which like gives out notices about the registration or any advising that's been going on. And if you want to follow like a particular department, that's a very good idea to know like maybe what's going on in that particular department. So that's always a good idea.
Future Broncos, it's Jasmine with the Office of Admissions bringing you another tip of the week. We understand that many of you have already been accepted to the university, but you don't have to accept your offer until May 1st. Some of you may still be considering offers from other universities, so we highly encourage you to come and check out our campus. You can schedule a campus tour with our Office of Outreach or just come in for a self-guided tour. Maps are available at your convenience at the orange counter in the Student Services building.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. This week's question of the episode is, have you registered for orientation? Tell us in the chat when you'll be at orientation. Maybe you can meet other students who will be at orientation that same day. You'll already know people at Cal Poly Pomona before you even come to Cal Poly Pomona. So thank you for joining us. Also, do you guys like my new background? I forgot to mention it. I've recorded like 3 episodes. We have a to-do list and we have a new flyer. Thank you, Ale. Join us every week for a new episode of Bronco Scoop. Subscribe to our channel, CPP Access and Transition, or follow us on Spotify, Bronco Scoop, to never miss a scoop. Make sure to check out our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at CPP Caminos to keep yourself updated If you have any questions or want to talk about anything Cal Poly Pomona related, email us at caminos@cpp.edu. Project Caminos Broncos Scoop is supported with funding from the Department of Education Hispanic Serving Institute grant and Cal Poly Pomona's Office of Student Success, Equity, and Innovation. Tune in for more.